Okay, Ella, turning to global fortunes. Let's start with the good news first. What stock is doing well on the international market?
Oh, gold. It's actually gone up by 25%. On the 13th of December 2024, I wrote on my Facebook page that gold would go up in 2025, and it actually has. Gold is a tax-free investment in the United Kingdom, but I'm not sure about the USA and other countries. Why is gold doing so well? The beginning of various UK and US global economic events will lead to the downturn and ultimately result in a gold boom. But it's already started and gold has just stabilized.
Okay, well, that's good news for investors. Will Donald Trump help the economy in the US and the Western world?
Um, it's clear that the past 5 years have actually taken a significant toll. Too much damage has actually been done to easily turn things around, sadly. Even though Donald Trump lives and breathes the economy, and as hard as he tries, it's going to be difficult.
Okay, there's always market volatility, but overall, house prices, stock prices, Bitcoin, they're all reaching record highs. Isn't this good?
We're actually sadly entering a cycle of boom and bust once again. Do you remember the massive crash in 2008? People were spending records amount of money through borrowing on credit. And hence the housing scheme where people were buying houses on a pyramid scheme, well, eventually the whole thing just completely and utterly crumbled.
Very sad, isn't it?
Um,
Equity driven.
yeah, yeah, and the buffer indicator of how the economy is doing is currently trending at 208% ratio market value of the GDP. This is 67% higher than the long-term trend, and it hasn't been like that since the 1950s. So that is quite scary.
Okay, Ella, well, it is quite scary. So, looking through your para intelligence, can you share what's happening with buying houses?
Yeah, I anticipate the interest rate will experience it'll be quite volatile. It's not going to stabilize.
So, what will happen with rents then? Do you think?
Sadly, they're going to remain high due to demand, and the prices will stay up even during a market crash.
Yes, I guess that's. I mean, one thing to be definitely thinking about because then you've got, the economy's so harsh. You've got rents going high. People have got to live somewhere. If they can't afford to buy, does that mean prices drop a little bit?
I don't see the prices dropping. It's gonna take some time. Um, the market has to stay down for a little while. The problem is, there's a lot of demand for property, and that goes not just for the US and the UK, that goes for the whole West in general.
So, what you're saying about the stock market, are you expecting a crash?
Yes, sadly, yes.
And so, is Bitcoin our savior? What will happen with that?
Yeah, as you're probably aware, Melanie and Donald Trump, they released a crypto Mence coin. And even though it started to do quite well to begin with, it's actually going down, sadly. So, and I strongly see, basically, like I was saying, we're entering a boom and bust period.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to do a conversation about Melania. I think people are fascinated by her, but getting back onto this, as you said, you're seeing a cycle of boom and bust once again. So
Yes, I am.
how are people investing more than they have?
Um, it's called margin training. Excuse me. It's called margin trading. It involves borrowing funds from a broker to invest in securities with deposits. And you can have a tiny deposit of say, 20, 25%. Um, and then you've got your broker putting the rest in for you. So if the price of the investment starts to decline, what happens is it can result in the equity falling below the required minimum, which requires an additional capital to cover. So, hence, the person who's originally invested loses everything. It's a little bit like what happened in 2008 with the great crash, is that people were putting these deposit on houses, but their borrowing rate was actually a loan and they couldn't meet that. So the whole thing just started to crumble. We're doing the same thing with things like Bitcoin.
So what will happen then if this occurs?
Um, the whole economy is actually going to fall apart. There's no other way it is going to go, sadly.
Okay, well, let's look at inflation, Anna. Well, what are you foreseeing in that area?
Yeah, I don't see food and general expenses going down. They will continue to go up because of inflation.
Well, that's scary. There seems to be less jobs. People aren't getting, salary increases, and the cost of everything's going up.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. So, if you remember back to 2008, it's just going to be a repeat of that, sadly.
Wow. Wow, wow.
Yeah. But, in every boom and bust period, there are people that actually do make money. But they're the ones where people have borrowed massive amounts from them. You need to understand the economy a little bit to understand what I'm actually talking about.
Yeah. Thanks, Ella. That's an invaluable insight, and will absolutely help us all with our keep us on the right track in terms of investments.
Yes, yes, definitely.